Breaking news that's shaking the global nuclear chessboard. Russia has offered Iran something that's making Israel's military command lose sleep tonight. This isn't just another diplomatic statement. It's a game changer that could ignite the Middle East powder keg. Let me tell you what's really happening behind those diplomatic words. Russia's foreign minister just announced they're ready to help Iran enrich uranium. While they're calling it peaceful nuclear cooperation, military experts are already calculating strike distances and response times. Here's what they're not telling you. This move completely reshapes the power balance in the region. The timing of Moscow extending this helpful hand to Tehran isn't accidental, and the consequences won't be either. Israel's reaction tells us everything. They're discussing preemptive strikes on Iranian facilities. But here's the twist. Any attack on Iran now becomes an indirect confrontation with Russian interests. See how the puzzle pieces fit together? The real question isn't about nuclear technology. It's about who controls the region's future. While everyone's focused on the diplomatic dance, something much more dangerous is brewing underneath. Military satellites are tracking unusual movement patterns around key facilities. What's particularly disturbing is the silence from Western capitals. They know exactly what this means, but they're paralyzed. Why? Because the next move could trigger a cascade of events that nobody can control. This isn't just another Middle Eastern crisis. This is about global realignment, and your future is directly tied to what happens next. The nuclear clock is ticking, but not in the way you might think. Where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments. It's crucial to understand how far this shockwave might reach. Because what started as a diplomatic announcement could end up redrawing the map of global power. Let's break down what's really happening behind these moves, and why the next 48 hours could change everything. But what truly sets this development apart is the unprecedented scale of Russia's move in the Middle East. Moscow isn't just offering technical assistance. It's positioning itself to become the master controller of Iran's entire nuclear infrastructure. This isn't merely about enrichment technology. It's about reshaping the entire power dynamic of the region. Think about it. By taking control of Iran's nuclear program, Russia creates a sophisticated mechanism of influence that extends far beyond Tehran. We're witnessing the emergence of a new geopolitical reality, where Moscow becomes not just a participant, but the primary arbiter of nuclear development in one of the world's most volatile regions. The Israeli response has been swift and telling. Military analysts in Tel Aviv are already discussing contingency plans, and our sources indicate increased activity at key strategic facilities. The question isn't if Israel will respond, it's when and how severely. But here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. This move by Russia effectively creates a new security architecture in the Middle East. By positioning itself between Iran and Israel, Moscow gains unprecedented leverage over both regional powers. The implications are staggering. We're looking at a complete realignment of alliances and power structures that have defined the region for decades. The economic implications are equally profound. Our market analysts are tracking unusual movements in energy futures, and several major investment banks have quietly begun adjusting their long-term regional forecasts. This isn't just about nuclear technology. It's about who controls the economic destiny of an entire region. What's particularly fascinating is the timing. Just as the Western banking system shows signs of strain, Russia makes this bold move to establish itself as an indispensable power broker in the Middle East. But there's more to this story. And what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly why this isn't just about Iran or nuclear power. It's about something far more significant that's been hidden from public view. The deepening partnership between Moscow and Tehran marks a significant shift in global nuclear politics. Iran gains not just protection from Western pressure, but also access to advanced nuclear technologies. However, this comes at the cost of partial control transfer to Russia. This strategic realignment has set off serious alarm bells in Israel. According to recent intelligence reports, Tel Aviv is actively preparing military options against Iran's nuclear infrastructure. This isn't just theoretical planning. It's a concrete strategy ready for deployment if Tehran resumes uranium enrichment beyond permitted levels. Israeli intelligence services are maintaining heightened surveillance of key facilities, particularly Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, sites that have previously been targeted by Israeli and American strikes. Any attempt to transport highly enriched uranium, or restore damaged facilities could trigger a new wave of military actions. The situation is even more critical given recent diplomatic developments. Israeli sources indicate their leadership has received encouraging signals from Donald Trump's circle regarding potential military action against Iran. The stakes couldn't be higher. After a high-level meeting in Washington, Ron Dermer, chief advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, reported that Trump might support strikes against Iran under specific conditions. This potential backing from a former, and possibly future, U.S. president adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. Russia's role in this emerging crisis is pivotal. By offering Iran nuclear expertise, Moscow is effectively challenging the existing power balance in the Middle East. This move forces Israel into a difficult position, potentially having to confront not just Iranian nuclear ambitions, but also Russian technological support. The clock is ticking, and the region stands at a crossroads. Strategic decisions made in Moscow, Tehran, and Tel Aviv in the coming months could reshape the entire Middle East security landscape. What do you think about the current situation? Leave your answer in the comments. Recent diplomatic meetings have unveiled a concerning trajectory in Middle Eastern affairs. After crucial discussions with Vice President Divenens, Secretary Rubio, and Trump's special envoy Witkoff, signs point to a potential large-scale military conflict brewing in the region. The situation is developing along two critical paths. Iran, bolstered by Russian technological support, appears poised to advance its nuclear program under the guise of peaceful development. This partnership marks a significant shift in regional power dynamics, with Moscow moving from mediator to active participant and beneficiary. On the opposing side stands Israel, whose historical precedent of preemptive strikes demonstrates an unwavering commitment to national security, regardless of international law constraints. If Washington backs these actions, as indicators suggest they might, we could witness rapid destabilization across the entire region. The triangular relationship between Russia, Iran, and Israel creates a particularly volatile situation. Russia's deeper involvement in Iranian affairs as a supplier and stakeholder, rather than mediator, fundamentally alters the strategic landscape. Israel, feeling increasingly threatened, has shown signs of adopting more aggressive postures. The U.S. appears likely to revert to maximum pressure policies against Iran, while supporting Israel's hardline stance. This combination of factors, Russian-Iranian cooperation, Israeli security concerns, and American strategic positioning, creates a perfect storm for potential conflict. Should Israel decide to strike Iranian nuclear facilities, the repercussions would reverberate far beyond the immediate region. Russia's interests would be directly affected, potentially drawing Moscow deeper into Middle Eastern affairs and creating new friction points with Western powers. What makes this situation particularly precarious is the convergence of multiple strategic interests and the willingness of key players to act decisively to protect their perceived vital interests. Do you think Israel will actually strike Iranian nuclear facilities? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The situation around Iran's nuclear facilities is reaching a critical point. If Russian specialists or equipment appear at these sites, we could see a direct confrontation between Israel and Russia. While initially this might stay within diplomatic and information warfare bounds, the real danger lies in Iran's potential response through its regional proxies. From Hezbollah in Lebanon to militant groups in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria, Iran commands a network ready to ignite at a moment's notice. This powder keg could easily spark a new regional war, fundamentally reshaping the Middle East's security landscape. Russia's growing ambitions in the region are particularly evident in Yemen, where a prolonged conflict continues between Iranian-backed Houthis and the Saudi-led Arab coalition. Moscow has positioned itself as a dialogue partner for all sides, engaging in closed-door negotiations with Houthi representatives. This strategic move suggests the Kremlin aims to become a new balancing force, even in the region's most volatile hotspots. By strengthening its influence in Yemen, Russia could achieve multiple strategic objectives. First, it would expand its military and political presence along the southern borders of the Arab world. Second, it would gain leverage over Red Sea shipping routes, affecting global maritime trade. This fits into a broader pattern of Russia establishing itself as an indispensable mediator in regional conflicts. The combination of nuclear cooperation with Iran and diplomatic engagement in Yemen signals Russia's determination to reshape the regional order. This new reality forces traditional power brokers to reassess their strategies and alliances. What do you think about Russia's growing influence in the Middle East? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart, and I want to hear your take. Trade routes are shifting as Russia makes a strategic bet on the Middle East, with Iran becoming the central piece on this geopolitical chessboard. Tehran's nuclear program isn't merely about technology and fuel, it's about power, influence, and control in a rapidly changing world order. We're witnessing a fundamental transformation in how global powers interact. Israel stands ready for escalation, while the United States might once again become the catalyst for conflict. The situation is approaching a critical threshold where Iran's nuclear question could trigger not just military action, but become an arena for a broader geopolitical confrontation between world powers. Russia's current foreign policy strategy has evolved far beyond traditional diplomatic participation or symbolic support of allies. The situation with Iran's nuclear program vividly demonstrates this shift. Moscow isn't just offering verbal support, it's actively integrating into Iran's critical infrastructure, providing technical assistance in uranium enrichment. This marks a significant departure from previous approaches. Russia is systematically penetrating a sphere that Iran has traditionally considered part of its national sovereignty. The Kremlin is effectively taking responsibility for a key component of Iran's strategic capabilities, creating a new power dynamic in the region. This development carries profound implications for global security architecture. When one nuclear power assists another state's nuclear ambitions, it fundamentally alters regional balance. Israel's potential response could trigger a cascade of events affecting global stability. The most concerning aspect isn't just the technical cooperation, but the strategic depth of this partnership. Russia is positioning itself as a key player in Middle Eastern affairs, using nuclear cooperation as a powerful tool of influence. This creates a complex web of dependencies and alliances that could reshape the entire regional security framework. What do you think about this situation? Will Israel take decisive action, or will diplomatic channels prevail? Share your thoughts in the comments. Russia's strategic move in the Middle East is taking shape through an unprecedented nuclear partnership with Iran. Moscow isn't just offering technology, it's positioning itself as a guarantor of regional nuclear security. By taking on the role of nuclear supervisor and energy contractor, Russia is creating a web of technological dependency that binds Tehran's future to Russian expertise. This isn't merely about power plants, it's about shifting the entire regional security architecture. Russia's technical oversight of enrichment processes could serve as crucial evidence to the IAEA that Iran's nuclear program remains peaceful. But beneath this surface-level cooperation lies a deeper strategic calculus. For Iran, Russia has evolved from an ally into an indispensable security provider. The implications are profound. Tehran now faces not only international sanctions if it deviates from agreements, but risks losing its primary technological lifeline. This creates a powerful lever of influence that Moscow can use to shape Iranian behavior. Meanwhile, Israel isn't standing idle. Intelligence sources indicate increased military preparations, suggesting Tel Aviv is seriously considering renewed surgical strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities. What makes this particularly concerning is Iran's demonstrated ability to rebuild damaged installations and push uranium enrichment to 60% levels, a technical threshold that rings alarm bells in military planning rooms. The game is changing. Russia isn't just observing anymore. It's becoming an integral part of the regional threat matrix and security guarantee system. This transformation carries implications far beyond the Middle East, potentially affecting global nuclear proliferation dynamics and international security arrangements. We're witnessing a careful balancing act where Moscow seeks to support Iran's nuclear ambitions while maintaining just enough control to prevent uncontrolled escalation. But with Israeli military options remaining on the table, the situation remains highly volatile. What do you think about the current event? Leave your answer in the comments. The situation with Iran's nuclear capabilities is reaching a critical threshold, bringing it dangerously close to weapons-grade potential. Israel faces a stark reality. Their window for preventive action might be closing fast. For decades, preemptive strikes have been the cornerstone of Israeli security doctrine, and now this strategy is once again at the forefront of their planning. However, the game has fundamentally changed. The presence of Russian specialists and equipment at Iranian nuclear facilities creates an entirely new dimension of risk. Any military action now could have far broader implications than previous operations, potentially drawing in major global powers directly. Moscow's involvement in Iran's nuclear program reveals a sophisticated strategy that extends far beyond the Middle East. Russia is positioning itself as more than just a participant. It's becoming an architect of a new world order. The Iranian nuclear program serves as a powerful lever in this grand geopolitical chess game. By deepening ties with Iran, Moscow gains multiple advantages. It strengthens its position in regional conflicts, creates new economic opportunities through technological cooperation, and demonstrates to the West that no major international crisis can be resolved without Russian participation. This approach serves multiple purposes. It helps Russia build influence in critical regions, addresses its economic challenges through new partnerships, and reinforces its role as an indispensable player in global affairs. The nuclear cooperation with Iran isn't just about technical assistance, it's about shaping future power dynamics. We're witnessing a transformation in global politics, where nuclear capabilities become tools for broader strategic objectives. Russia's involvement changes not just the military equation, but the entire diplomatic landscape. This creates a complex web of relationships that will influence international relations for years to come. The implications reach far beyond the immediate region, affecting global security architecture and economic systems. As these events unfold, we'll continue monitoring how this strategic partnership develops and its impact on world stability.